The next best thing to come out of Greece, apparently. That's what Babis Kostoulis and Christos Moussakitis. I did well in saying both of them names there. I am really chuffed for myself to get them Greek names out the bag. I'm going to explain where the story has come from and what is going on with both of these players, with a raft of European top guns looking for their services. These two are part of what was an exceptional under-19s Olympiacos Youth Europa winning team. They have been part of the master class, which has been the Greek under-18s and under-19s model, which has been coming through. All the details on that and what's happening, what's going to cost, what it might cost Manchester United, who they're in the race with, and why we're actually going for these players. An update on Kobbie Mainoo as well. Amongst all of this young talent coming through, you know that I have been quite stern with having to bring in some experienced players as well. Not just this young, brilliant talent, which I love, and I've said many times before, but also we do need the experienced players in, and United apparently are in for one in an attacking position as well, who has got abundance of experience in the Italian league and across Europe as well, and has got plenty of goals this season. More on that as well, and everything else that is going on with Manchester United today, setting you up Wednesday, 26th of March. It seemed like a lifetime ago since Manchester United played. Every single Manchester United player that went on international duty, which is 12, have all come back with no injuries. Here we effing go. It's time to get down to serious business and get into the back end of this season. With all of the players coming back, I can't help but bring it up every single show that I do, because I'm just excited that we are actually getting players back. Look, all of that to come. Want to get your comments in as well. Obviously, make sure you've hit the subscribe button, join the FUTV army, get involved in the live chats, and obviously leave a like on the video as well. But yeah, plenty of comments, please, everyone, this morning. Let me know your thoughts on this. So let's get into the story on what is going on with the Greek Wonderkids, you could say. Yes, that is what they're being touted at. So I'm going to read through the story. The first one, it's come from quite a lot of publications today. There's a lot running with it, so it's all pretty much the same thing. Manchester United and Arsenal are keeping tabs on two Olympiacos Wonderkids ahead of the summer transfer window. I have mentioned Kostoulis on this show before, as Manchester United looking at him and scouting him. It has been all over social media as well. These are quality players that are playing in the first team for Olympiacos right now, and the best of the best coming through at that level. Again, this may seem like Manchester United going for players that we haven't heard of yet. These two are actually already advanced in terms of their playing time. They were a massive part of the UEFA Europa Youth League, which has been played at under-19 level, which United also compete in. These two are part of the Olympiacos side, which won it last season. So that's how good they are. When going up against the best of Europe, and you're seeing two players contribute to a team that wins that competition, you start to look into it and go, okay, maybe there is some talent there. But they've been featuring in the Olympiacos first team as well. So the story reads, both teenage sensations are part of the Greek Giants' exciting new generation that won the UEFA Youth League for the under-19s last season. It also goes on to say, Babis Kostoulis and Christos Moussakitis were among the main protagonists of a historic triumph that saw them become part of the first ever Greek team to win a European title shortly before the seniors conquered the Europa Conference League. Both of them were quickly promoted to the Olympiacos first team under manager Jose Luis Mendilibar last season. Highly rated forward Kostoulis, 17, has so far amassed a total of 6 goals and 2 assists in 33 appearances with the Olympiacos outfits this season. And rising midfield star Moussakitis, 18, has registered 2 goals as well as 4 assists in 30 appearances across all competitions. So, well and truly part of the setup in Olympiacos. This week, Moussakitis made his debut in the senior Greek squad, the team that thrashed Scotland 3-0. You'll remember that this week from what's it called again, the Nations League. I really don't care about international football, but in terms of stature, in terms of listening to this story and going, oh, it's just 2 more teenagers again, they're featuring. They're playing a lot of first-team football and they are winning things. And the Greek setup at the moment is something that cannot be ignored. Winning the youth league and winning that, and then being part of the international fold at under 21 level, now promoted. Kostoulis hasn't made it into the international fold senior level just yet because of a knock. I think he picked up an injury, that's why he wasn't called in. But what you've got to look at there is Masakidis is part of the Greek first team now, and he's part of the Olympiacos first team. He is an out-and-out 8. He doesn't play any other position. He's a master of that role. Could we be seeing this being another option rather than a Chris Rigg, or a Joe Bellingham, one of these type of players? Is this the other option for Manchester United? If we're going in big on a striker, which is by all accounts what United are doing, is this where we make up the rest of the squad that we need? And obviously, this is a deal I think that could come in if Manchester United don't make the Champions League, or even if they do make the Champions League. Obviously, the squad needs trimming if we're not in European football. Maybe these types of signings that have got a little bit more time could come in. But then on their case, they might look at this and go, we want to play first team football. We want to be in the first team for a club playing at the highest level, because there is a whole raft of clubs after them, including Arsenal, Liverpool. I think Borussia Dortmund have been looking at them as well. And this is what we've said before. Why are Manchester United never in for these players? Why is it always Borussia Dortmund? Why is it always the Milans, Juventus, some of the Italian clubs that are getting their hands on these players? Why are we not there? We did it with Sekou Kone. We've done it with Diego Leon so far. We've snatched Aiden Heaven away from Arsenal as well. These deals are working for Manchester United. And like I said before, we are looking at the here and now as well as the future. The deals for these players, I mean, they're both contracted in until 2029 and 30, respectively, and are market value in around about €8 million. That's probably going to go up. You're probably going to have to pay a little bit more for first-team players and full international players right now. But you're in a level here where I think, and I'm not going to try and compare them to Kobbie Mainoos and Garnachos, but it's this type of player coming through the Greek setup. It's that sort of level and where they're at. Both featuring internationally and both doing really, really well. Key positions, I mean, Kostoulis, who has scored more goals for Olympiacos this season, plays in a few different positions. He's played up front, so he's versatile. He's played behind as a number 10, and he's played on the right wing as well. So he is one of them versatile players that Ruben Amorim likes, who can play in multiple positions. And he's also a cover for some of the main signings we're hopefully going to bring in the summer. So that really is where Manchester United are probably looking at for certain deals. They look to the Greek League and maybe they can get a cheaper deal out of there. Like, they're obviously going to drive a harder bargain, Olympiacos, if they want these players in. But again, it's Manchester United being clever, being savvy, and being creative with their transfer window and looking at targets that not many, well, I say not many other people are, but when you look at the clubs, and this is what I just wanted to make a point of as well in this. I've just said it a moment ago there, where other clubs have took these players, and Manchester United are usually the ones that end up actually spending more. Manchester United were way behind the football data revolution, behind other football clubs. And when I mention these teams here, so when you look at these players and who has actually registered an interest in these players, you look at Aston Villa, Borussia Dortmund, AC Milan, Juventus, Chelsea, Tottenham, Bayern Munich, Villarreal, Wolves, Brighton, Atletico Madrid, also looking at these players. Look at them teams. Look at the Brightons. Look at the Villarreal. Look at the Borussia Dortmunds, Atletico Madrids. These are teams that are very, very clever with their transfer business. They're not known, well, Atletico, you could say, are known for buying big, but they do develop a lot of their own as well. And finding these players is something that United have not done before. Now, we started last summer. We've advanced a year on. We're now looking at doing this again, but going into a different market as well. We're actually looking like we have got a plan. And there is a future for Manchester United. And we're not going to allow this festering waste of time in the academy with players doing nothing and not going out on loan. It looks like this summer is going to be the catalyst to everything that Ineos's plan is. It seemed a little bit scattergun while being a bit better organised last summer, but it really does look like this summer is the summer where Manchester United are actually going to put the pedal to the metal and go into overdrive with their recruitment side of things and make sure that we are at the forefront of all of these deals. Make sure that we are actually involved in these big deals for these younger players coming through. How many teenagers have Manchester United now been linked with before this transfer window has even opened? I think we're now into double figures easily for teenagers that United have actually been registered an interest in that we may be going for this transfer window. So I think it is a massive positive. Another 17-year-old and an 18-year-old there as well. All of this mixed in with other deals that are going on at Manchester United and what we're looking at. And this is where I want to balance the argument a little bit now, because at Manchester United are also looking at players like we said yesterday when we were talking about Trincao in midfield rather than the Tyler Dibbling. Now, Chris Wheeler came out and said there's 14 clubs bidding for Tyler Dibbling. And with Jason Wilcox's ties and links to Southampton, obviously, remember, we took Jason Wilcox from Southampton. He was the director of football at the time, bringing Dibbling through. And that is apparently something that United have got in their hat that could actually put us ahead of everybody else when going for Dibbling. We'll see if that materialises. But I made the case for Trincao over Dibbling yesterday. It's going to be a race for all of these young talents going out. And I'm telling you right now, PSR and Financial Fair Play is pushing all of the clubs into these younger players. They all want to get these players in young, because if they get them in young enough and bring them through, then they can be classed as homegrown players. And then they can make big money down the line. So every single football club in Europe is now battling it out for the best young talent around. And you've got to be on the button. You have to be ready. And with Jason Wilcox's experience, not just at Southampton as a sporting director, but at academy level at Manchester City and the development there as well, alongside the likes of Omar Barada, who they both know each other well. Then the recruitment side of Christopher Vivel on top of that, and his history of bringing through and nurturing young talent also. Manchester United are in good hands when it comes to these sorts of deals. But not on top, just on that alone, on top of that, you have got the need for some ready-made players right now. And another one has popped up, and it's Ademola Lookman from Atalanta. Now, this may cost a lot, and this doesn't look like the type of signing that Manchester United really would be making. You can see it going across the bottom of your screen there. Manchester United are interested in the £50 million rated player. Now, $50 million for Lookman going into the last year of his contract. His contract is up in 2026. So this is why we know that this deal is probably going to happen. Atalanta are going to cash in. This is the last chance that Lookman has got, because he's 27 and he's going to be 28 in October. That's the snag. Do you invest in ready-made quality? And when I say ready-made quality, he had an excellent season last season. He's moved into a number 10 role for Atalanta this season, more predominantly. He was wide and in 10 last season when they won the Europa League, of course. He was a big part of that success story last season for Atalanta. They're comfortably in Champions League positions this season, challenging for Serie A as well. He's the third highest goal scorer in Serie A right now as well. So he is having a fantastic season. And I think what's he got this season? He's got 18 goals and 7 assists this season, Lookman. So in all competitions, he's got 25 goal involvements, including 13 in what is really helping Atalanta challenge for the Serie A title. So really, when you look at that, it's two ends of the spectrum. You've got the Kostoulis, and Musakatitis. Katitis, I think it is. I'll get it right. But them two players, 17, 18, jumping all the way up to a 27-year-old who's going to turn 28 by October. So the start of next season, a few months in, he's going to be 28. 50 million for that age of player. You've got to have guarantees. He has to be a difference. Is he good enough? Which is where I'm going to come to the comment section now and see what you're all feeling about this. Is he good enough to come in and be that player that you can say it's worth spending that much money on? Manchester United apparently have already turned their noses up at Victor Gyökeres turning 27 for 62 million. 12 million less? Maybe United could get Lookman for less. I don't know, because he's into the last year of his deal, and that's the number being brandished around. Maybe it can be met with add-ons, and United don't mind paying a certain amount if it's in instalments. This has to be the best of the best when it comes to players coming in at that price, though. And Lookman, he's up there this season, isn't he? But the question I'm asking in the chat right now is he good enough for that amount of money to come in right now and go bang? Yes, what a signing that is. Let's have a quick look into how everything is. Thank you, everyone, for all of your likes already as well. Over 130 of them. Let's see if we can get that up to the 200 live like mark as usual. Make sure you have subscribed to Forever United TV. Be part of the FUTV army. That way you can get involved in the chat as well. Brighton signed Greek striker Stefanos Zimas for 22 million in January and loaned him back until the summer. There is a big push for the Greek market. There are a lot of teams pushing at younger players coming through in the Greek setup right now. They have got something. They really have got something building there. A proof is there in that UEFA Youth League. I mean, that there has got the best of the best at that level, at under 19 level, and you're winning that, ahead of all the other European teams. You have to have something. And it's no surprise if the likes of Bayern Munich, Juventus, Atletico Madrid, Arsenal, Spurs, Chelsea, all of these teams are in for these types of players. Why the hell are Manchester United not in for these players? That's what we've always been saying. And now we're going to see if Manchester United can actually make this happen. Yes, Olympiacos also owns Nottingham Forest. Yes, he does, who we're playing this weekend, coincidentally. Whether or not, look, his main thing is obviously making money through Olympiacos, and that is something that they have got in abundance there. So they are going to use their academy players to make money over there. That's how it works in the Greek league. I don't even think Nottingham Forest owner, I can't remember his name. Is it Maseratis or something like that? I can't remember his name. But he's realistic with it, and he is looking to spend a lot of money in at Nottingham Forest. I don't know what rule there is in terms of that dual ownership type of thing if they're going into Europe. Remember that rule that was there with Manchester United and not being able to buy players from a parent club with Jean-Claire Todibo going from Lille to Manchester United. That was kind of put to bed. So Olympiacos will be in Europe next season. And obviously, so will Nottingham Forest going off what the Premier League. So they won't be able to bring them in, I don't think. It's a bit murky waters on that side of it. But anyone thinking that, obviously, that's the situation. We came up against that last season. So let's just see how that develops. But I think there's an opportunity there for a lot of clubs. And I'm just happy that Manchester United are in the mix with it. And it's good that we're actually seeing us looking at players that could have a potential in the future that could earn the club an absolute fortune as well, if necessary. Because let's be fair, who out of our academy is earning Manchester United any money right now? Why are we the only club that's not doing this? The size of Manchester United. Look, having our best academy, like for someone who hasn't featured much in the first team, we sold Willy Cambuela to Villarreal, I think in the summer for what was it, about 6 or 7 million quid. And a few of them will go a long way for Manchester United. But we are seemingly having to rebuild our academy and younger squad setup right now. And I've said it before, and you all know it. You've probably watched it as well by now. The Manchester United under-18s are absolutely brilliant and are really competing. So let's see what comes through with that, with a mix of the younger players. But talk to me about Ademola Lookman. Do you feel like he is the type of player that Manchester United can afford to spend that amount of money on? And at the age that he is, because that's the concern, isn't it? Everything looks to be earmarked for the future, and the question has always been there. What about now? What about now? He's a good player. He is a good player. Like Graham will bring up there in the chat as well, his record in England, it was a big red flag, but we cannot look at that, can we? We can't. Gyökeres's record in England was a big red flag, and let's be honest, he's looking to go to one of the big clubs right now. Look, certain moves help certain players and then they develop even more. We can't look at what was way before. We've got to look at how they've how they've developed, how they've got better at other clubs. And I think that's where you would look at. I mean, you bring it into the conversation because it's a hell of a lot of money. And you know what? It is one of them where you'd be like, is that going to take away funds from a position that we desperately need? Are we going to spend that much money on a 10 if we're looking at spending a similar amount of money on a number 9? Now, obviously, if you're going to bring someone like Jonathan David in, then it frees up money to spend on a good 10, doesn't it? But again, do you want one that you're spending a lot of money on that's only going to be around, 3 to 4 years max? Getting to 31? I mean, I don't know. Players are a lot fitter these days, and they can probably go to 32. And maybe you can still do it at that level. Maybe you get 5 years out of him, but it's 5 years max with no sell-on option really for United. There's no future value in that deal, I don't think, and that's probably what we're looking at right now, I would say, above anything. Why don't we bring Henderson back for an R0, says Andrew. No, off topic, yes mate, but I don't think that's ever going to happen after what he said. Let's see what else we've got in here. We'll make an impact straight away, very strong, but we get the Champions League. It should look at higher profile players. Again, it does come down to what Manchester United are playing in next season. For United and the players that we've spoken about plenty of times before, players might not want to play in a certain team if they're not in the Champions League. And Lookman he has got plenty of years left in him, but when you're comparing a 27-year-old turning 28 into comparing them against a teenager, there's plenty of time to bring them players through and convince them that this is the right club. In a couple of years, when you're first team, we're going to be playing regular Champions League football. Lookman might want it now. Players like Edison from Atalanta also might want it now. Osimhen, we don't know. All of these ready-made players, even Jonathan David to a certain extent, wants to be playing Champions League football. So, yeah, it brings up the question again. Do United need a big enough squad? Do they need a squad as big as what we've got now if they're not playing European football next season? It's just domestic football. The schedule goes down by a minimum for Manchester United. You would expect of at least 10 games less a season. That's a big step because you've got 8 games in whatever league you're in terms of the Europa League, the Champions League phase. And I'm sure United would finish in the top 24 of any of them leagues that they're playing in. They're good enough for that, which gives you the playoff game or at least around the 16 game if you automatically go through. So you're guaranteed to be playing 10 less games next season, unless you go all the way in the FA Cup, unless you go all the way in the Carabao Cup. But that's what you've got to balance. It's easier with no travelling, with no extra games, to keep your team and your squad tight-knitted. To be honest, with United's injury record, I would probably be trying to bring in a few more players anyway and make sure we've got plenty of cover just for the domestic football. But I think that is in the minds of Manchester United as well. It's not just about the money. It's not just about what's actually happening in terms of the transfers and what they can get deal-wise. It's how many players you actually need. If we get in the Champions League miraculously by winning this Europa League, then United, I think, are going to really have to spend and bring in, I reckon 6 or 7 players, because we're going to be losing quite a lot. I reckon United need to bring in 6 or 7 to even compete at the level that we need to in the Champions League. And then all of a sudden you need to, like the comment says, buy better quality players. Look at more. If United are in the Champions League, I think you can almost guarantee certain players coming to United. I think they'll go for Edison. I think they'll get Osimhen. I think they'll possibly go for Jonathan David, maybe even Trincao or Diblin as well, because the money will be there. That guaranteed money from the Champions League lets United bring in at least, I would say, 4 top quality signings. And then you could maybe bring in some younger players alongside that as well. But that is what we need. I mean, you can tell me, if United make the Champions League next season, drop a quick comment into the live chat right now. You know who's leaving in the summer. We've covered it. I don't need to go through it. How many players do United need to buy? And how many players do you reckon have to be top quality? Drop the numbers into the chat right now. I reckon United needs 7 players coming in if we're in the Champions League next season. 4 of them have to be best of the best that we can get that's out there and available. The other 3 could be younger players coming through, possibly. But at least 7 new players need to come in for Manchester United this season. If we do win the Europa League anyway. Oh, God, I hope that is the case. I really do. I'm really excited to see what Ruben Amorim can do with players of his. And obviously, after the exodus of what we're expecting this summer, it does it bodes well, doesn't it? It gives you that excitement going forward. Look, I want to move on to other news as well. Keep them coming in. Keep your comments flying in. We've got plenty to get through today. So let's crack on with it. How the hell are we 25 minutes into the show already? Good God. Anyway, Lookman 50 million. It's not looking good for... We touched on Mason Greenwood the other day. It isn't looking good for him at Marseille at the moment. More stories coming out from Marseille that he will be sold this summer by them. if he doesn't change his attitude. They're giving him the opportunity from now until the end of the season. Now, the only reason we're bringing this up, obviously, he's left United. He's never coming back. But if they do sell him, United have that 50% sell-on clause, which they could rake in another 10 to 15 million from, which could be big for United. So, yeah, the update on Greenwood from the other shows that we've done this week and last week as well on him is that the situation hasn't changed. He's still not playing. And De Zerbi has had a big fallout with Mason Greenwood, it would seem. And that's just the update on him because we have touched on that as well before. Another story going around, and one from Calcio Mercato, which is an Italian publication, on Kobbie Mainoo. And now the situation with Kobbie Mainoo and the contract talks that are going on right now, obviously we're all completely up to date with where we're at with it. From the United side, they're feeling a little bit more confident. But when we were asking the question about where Kobbie could go, what club in Europe, because he wants to move in Europe, what club he could go to, well, Inter Milan would be ready to bid for Kobbie Mainoo if he rejects a Manchester United contract. That's the story coming out of Italy. The owner there at the club wants to back Inzaghi, and their signings are going to be of the younger. Again, here we go. European clubs going for younger players. They would be willing to invest and pay Kobbie Mainoo what he wants, and give Manchester United the fee that they want for Kobbie Mainoo. There is an option, is what we're saying. If Kobbie Mainoo, and it's a big if, because he wants to stay at United apparently, if he didn't agree and it all fell down, and you know what? Again, that brings in the Champions League. If United do well from now until the end of the season, we get into the Champions League, I think that changes everything. And I think Kobbie Mainoo will be signed for Manchester United. I think not being in Europe just gives them that extra little push out of the door. And I think the agents will be looking at that. Let's go and win some trophies in Italy. Let's go and guarantee playing at the highest level in a fantastically supported club, one of the biggest clubs in the world in Inter Milan, who are willing to put you in their team. That's the story coming from there. They want to buy younger players, and there is an option there. So when we're looking around, I said I don't see him going to Madrid. Barcelona can't afford him right now. Atleti maybe could go in there. Maybe, I don't know if they've got the money to spend this summer. I'm not too sure. But all of the Champions League clubs, yes. Bayern Munich, well, Kimmich has signed his deal now as well. So really, I was looking around and I'm thinking, where can he go? I didn't think of Italy. I'll go be honest. I didn't think of Italy, but apparently they would be willing to spend money on Kobbie Mainoo and take him in. So that would be interesting to see if that develops. But I think that's one to actually keep an eye on, because if the longer it goes on and Kobbie doesn't sign a deal at Manchester United, the more reports are going to come out and the more interest from other clubs are going to circle. And it does look like Inter Milan, which you could say is definitely, it's not on a par. United are always bigger, but still, for the level that they're playing, it could be another couple of years before United get into the Champions League, if, in fact, we don't win the Europa League this season. And that takes Kobbie into his early 20s, and maybe he's thinking like that. Maybe he wants to play the higher level. Look, ultimately, at the end of the day, I think he wants to stay at United. It's all about the money and what he thinks he's valued at. That's his agent side of things. And I think a deal will be done. But there is that get out. There is the opportunity for Kobbie Mainoo to leave Manchester United. There are clubs that will pay for him. And Inter Milan are one of them clubs. So that's an interesting one as well. But I'm still confident that Kobbie will actually sign his deal, personally. I think that will come to it. And we will get to a stage where we meet in the middle. And that will be signed, sealed and delivered. I'm pretty certain of it anyway. Please keep giving the video a like. We've passed over 200 already. Absolutely mega, everybody. Thank you. I'm pretty certain we can now get up to that 300 live like mark. So keep them likes coming in, everyone. More subscribers have come in. Also, thank you, everyone. Make sure that you do keep on getting your comments in. I'm going to come there now. Anno says PSG is a possibility. I'd say yes, they have a fantastic midfield, but the rotational options and Mainoo would fit in there well, I think. Hope he stays, though. Yes, Chelsea might be interested in Mainoo. They got more money than the Italian clubs, I think, so Al Mac, but honestly, I do think that right now, the way we're looking at it, with what Kobbie has said, or apparently said, I'll say apparently because it's not come from his mouth, it's just the reports that are coming out, is that he wants to move abroad if he's not signing for Manchester United. So that's where we're at with the Kobbie Mainoo situation right now in terms of options for him moving on. I think Italy is a real option for him there. I really do. Talk to me about everything. Obviously, make sure you get the amount of signings you think Manchester United need to make this summer, with the obvious that are leaving as well. Let's just see. What's the hurry for Mainoo? He's not patient. If he's not patient, how can he control the midfield? Sorry, mate. Not sure what you're going about there. See what else we've got in the chat here. There's a few more comments coming in. I'm loving that we are building a young team that can work with each other and learn from each other. I think that was supposed to say. It will build future success. We must be patient with the new setup. It will come, guys. Yeah, it will. We do need to bring in experience to help these players as well, though. It's not like, I don't think any Manchester United fan is looking at this and going, get these ready-made players in now. We need to win now. I don't think it's that. I think everybody in this fan base understands that it takes time. It takes experience to help the younger players come through. And I think that's what everyone's looking at. Everyone feels like it's the right thing to do, and we should be involved in all of these younger deals and these younger players coming in. That has to be something that is staple for Manchester United going forward. But also, I think we understand that they need the help to develop as well. You cannot expect a full younger side to go out there and take United back to the top. There has to be 3 or 4 minimum in that team that is good enough and experienced enough to carry this team forward and actually give these younger players the opportunity to thrive in a team. Take the pressure off them. Because at the moment, we're relying solely on these younger players to do things that we really shouldn't be asking them to do. We shouldn't be putting the pressure on the younger players coming through the way we are. And that is a big problem at Manchester United. There has been. 11 to 12 departures, 4 to 5 top players coming in, and you've promoted. United staff need to be working overtime. Good morning, everyone, says Sean. I think they are working overtime, buddy. I think they are working overtime. And I think they will be going right into. I mean, you'd be surprised if they weren't, wouldn't you? There's a lot to do at Manchester United, and I think there is a real effort from the club to push this new sort of recruitment system forward. With all of the word that's come out from United, everybody's on board. Right, Ruben says it. Everyone at Manchester United is on board with everything that's going on. We're all looking down the same pathway. We've all got the same vision at the football club. We all want it to work at this level. And I think there's an understanding that probably hasn't been there before, from hierarchy right down to coaching level to the players. I think this is the most positive thing out of everything that's come from United, is the understanding and the backing of a coach in Ruben Amorim, who has actively shown everybody that he's up for the fight and taking out this old culture at Manchester United. Keep them comments coming in. Another story that is doing the rounds as well is, obviously, you would have heard about Felix Meka from Borussia Dortmund, another midfielder that United could be looking at, and someone that we have got experience with as well, and we do know, and we do have, again, I think it is Jason Wilcox from before, who knows the player well. This is what happens when you've got real football people working for you, who have contacts and actually know people within the sport. It's brilliant. But the situation with Jadon Sancho, again, yes, there's that name, of course. If Chelsea do decide to go in with the penalty, pay United, send Jadon Sancho back, we've heard that there are German teams involved that could want to take Jadon Sancho. He has done well there. His record over there is excellent compared to England anyway. And there could be a swap opportunity. So imagine this. Manchester United get rid of Jadon Sancho for the right price, but they could use Jadon Sancho to bring in another player or a swap. Obviously, you've got Frimpong, who is more of a winger now anyway. He's at Leverkusen. Leverkusen are interested in Sancho. You could see that materialising. Obviously, I've just mentioned Meka there as well. Meka from Borussia Dortmund, the midfielder. Could that be used as well? And it all falls back down into the sort of creative transfer window that Manchester United are walking into. They need to be all over it. Manchester United need to be involved in deals with players leaving and players coming in, the swaps, the contract situations, some of the academy players leaving in the summer. There is a lot to do for Manchester United. And I think someone who said it then a moment ago in the chat, who said they need to be working overtime right now. But can you imagine? Manchester United do actually get Jadon Sancho sent back. Silver lining in that is we could actually use him for a better deal. And again, we've got football people in place right now that can handle this situation. If Jadon Sancho was sent back 3 years ago and this situation was then, I'd be looking at this and I'd be banging my head against a brick wall, honestly. I'd be worrying, how can we go forward at all? But now we've actually got football people involved. It's like the connection with Diblin and Wilcox, the contacts that Christopher Vivel has got, the experience at academy level that Jason Wilcox has got, and the running of a successful academy and football team in what Omar Barada was working with as well. It just looks good for United. And the proof is there in January. I keep saying it, I know, but an 18-year-old and a 20-year-old coming in for a combined 27 million and are featuring week in, week out for Manchester United now. That's recruitment. That's recruitment at the highest level. Not buying really expensive players. Oh, well done. You have bought in. You've bought in Victor Gyökeres. Well done. Well done. That's not recruitment for me. Yeah, you could get the best deal, and well done for negotiating a really good deal. If you get it done, you've done well in getting that player. But that's not recruitment, I don't think. Recruitment is finding them gems, nurturing them and turning them into the beasts that Manchester United used to do. Very rarely did United buy the perfect player. They tried it and it failed a lot of times. I mean, even under Sir Alex Ferguson it failed, didn't it? So realistically, what you're looking at here is Manchester United, like Sir Jim said, finding and developing the next Mbappe rather than buying him. Now, we've just talked about the ready-made players that need to come in. I think Victor Osimhen he's a player that United need because of the circumstances that we're in right now, in that we haven't got an experienced forward player. And it is too much to ask of a younger player coming through to take on that pressure and that expectation level of a Manchester United number 9. It really is. And that, I think, is reasonable. I think everyone gets that and understands it. It is more encouraging that we have got people in at Manchester United who know what they're doing. And that's the one thing that I will say. That's the one thing that keeps me confident anyway. Look, there are plenty of people that have come into the show while we're live and haven't been up to date with everything that's going on. What we started the show with, Manchester United are actively chasing down Greek Wonderkids, Babis Kostoulis and Christos Moussakitis from Olympiacos, 17 and 18. One is an attacking player / forward, and one is a out-and-out number 8. Both on Manchester United's radar, as well as other football clubs around European football, as you'd expect. Part of the UEFA Youth League winning side for Olympiacos. One of them in Moussakitis featured against Scotland in beating them in the Greek first team as well. At just 18, already playing in the Greek first team international fold as well. And has featured both of them for over 30 games in all competitions in Europe and domestically for Olympiacos this season, with decent numbers in terms of creation, assist and goals and everything like that as well. So them two players are on Manchester United's radar, alongside apparently Lookman. Now, obviously, we've got the stories of Kluivert as well, being an option for Manchester United. I mean, I don't know. In terms of Justin Kluivert from Bournemouth, everybody, if he was there and we were able to get him, would you go for him? That's a story doing the rounds as well. I've not really wanted to get into it because I can't see that happening. Personally, I can't. But, I mean, you talk to me. Kluivert, Lookman, are these the experienced type of strikers that Manchester United and Forwards United should be going for? Is he a player that United... for me, I think he's just come onto the scene this season. I don't think he's done enough, Kluivert, this is, for me to say, go all out and get him. I don't think so. I really don't. But you may think differently. Is Kluivert the right type of player for United? Nico says, we literally need... we are 4 players away from top 4. It's not that deep. Almac says 65 million. Hoyland should be a stud scoring for fun. A stud scoring for fun. David says, I'd like to see 5/6 new players, and hopefully we have a couple of youth players knocking on the door for the first team. I think we do. I think that is an absolute given, to be honest. I think we are going to see plenty of academy players featuring next season, 100%. Don says, if we get like Edison to play with Agate, would you swap Mainoo for Palmer? Would I swap Mainoo for Palmer? I'd swap Mainoo for Palmer anyway, to be honest, even if we didn't get them players. But we're never going to get Cole Palmer from Chelsea. That is that's a dream, the scenario, bringing someone like that in. Rasmus got too comfortable starting every week. He needs to get hungry again, so bringing in an experienced striker would help massively. Felt, someone to learn off. That's what we need for our forwards. We need that in every position, don't we, really? Competition for places. Being a Man United player, back in the day, you're always looking over your shoulder. Oh, who's going to take my place? Who's going to come in? And that's left Manchester United over the last 10 years. And you've had this crap-run football club, which has just died on its arse because the players have had more power than the people running the bleeding club. I've said it how many times, the inmates running the asylum. That's what Manchester United has been for years now. And now we're actually seeing players fighting for their positions again. There's not one player, I think there's Bruno Fernandes probably, who walks into that team every single week under Ruben Amorim that we've seen. Now, you can say that's right or wrong, but obviously Bruno is actually warranting his place in the side at the moment. He's playing fantastically. And I will bring up that fact he wasn't earlier on in the season either. He has been just as bad as some of the other players. But right now, he is top dog, and we know it. But I don't think there's anyone else that just walks straight back into that side. I mean, De Ligt, I would say, for me personally, walks straight in. Mazraoui probably in the back three as well. And then you're taking your pick out the other centre-backs, as well as they've done. Maguire, Yoro, Heaven, Licha Martinez, even when he was playing, he was not a guaranteed starter for me. The goalkeeper, for God's sake, you know what I mean? Like Ahmad, if he's fit, walks into the team. He guaranteed starter. Bruno's a guaranteed starter. And you could maybe argue Ugarte and Dorgu right now, because Dorgu's the only left-sided natural forward-thinking wing-back we've got. And Ugarte is an out-and-out holding midfielder and the only one we have got. I think you've probably got half a team that might even stake a claim to being first name on the team sheets coming in. And that, I think, is where Manchester United are at. You need to go out and buy players that are going to go right into that first team. Be a starting 11 player. That's what you need to buy. I think that is where Manchester United's priority needs to be, first of all, in the transfer window. But I can see where they were looking at these younger players and just getting them deals done as quickly as possible, because they're easier to get done, I think, in terms of the fees and contracts and whatnot for these players. But if you stand still in this transfer window this summer, you're going to miss out on some serious talent coming in. And I think that's where United can't afford to be hanging around. They need to be on the pulse, basically. Watched Dibbling twice for England this week. Scanlon or Fletcher are way better than him. Way better. I mean, it's all opinion, Nuke. Obviously, they haven't played at the highest level either at the moment, but we've said it before. Obviously, Jack and Tyler Fletcher captaining their countries. One for England, one for Scotland. Scanlon for Wales as well, performing well. We have got so much talent in our academy that it could just be a case that them are the players that are coming through. And that's where United go with it. Please give the video a like, everybody. Around about 1,000 in the room with us right now. Thank you. Only 29 likes away from the 300 live like mark. Get onto it, everyone. Thank you. Let's get a few more comments in. For the last few years, we have kept the wrong players and bought in the worst players. We are now just starting to build a real team under Amorim. I get that. I'm with that. Player removals important as acquisitions, says Stephanie. 100% agree on that. Amorim sold Ugarte to improve his midfield. I see him doing the same thing in 2 years. I don't think so. He gave him the opportunity to move on. Let's be honest. If Amorim was still at Sporting right now, there was nothing he could do in the sales of Krenda, Gyökeres, other players that he had in his team. I don't think it's an Amorim thing, personally. We need influencing players to be brought in to tutor the youngsters. Yeah, I think that's something that everybody can get on board with, Fred, there. I think you're dead right on that one. But yes, the other news that we were talking about, Mainoo, an option for Inter Milan. Sancho could be used as a swap deal if Chelsea don't go through with this obligation and 25 million. This is where United are at. We've talked about this before. We talked about Andre Onana last night. I actively think that Manchester United will sell Bayindir and Onana now this summer to raise maybe 15 million in profit from both of them transfers from 2 seasons ago. That's what we're looking at. Add that to a Jadon Sancho, 25 million, which is seen as profit now because he's been at the club for so long. And then you've raised approximately 40 million there. You sell Rashford, 100% profit, 40 million. There's 80 million. And if you're trying to get rid of Casemiro and scrape a few million over the line, maybe, and the wages that were saved, United should realistically, in players sold this summer, be bringing in at least 120 million quid, at least, to go into the kitty, alongside anything else that we have got to actually to use money-wise in bringing players in. I feel like right now it is a case of confidence going into the new season because of the way that other players are playing. Look, Rashford's back in the international fold. Anthony's doing well. All of our players right now under Amorim are starting to see an upturn in form. It looks good. It looks good. Not fantastic, not brilliant, nowhere near competing enough for top 4, but better is the word I would say. Look, whichever way you look at Manchester United right now, you've got to say we're seeing improvements, but we need a lot of investment. That's how I would look at it. A lot of investment. The 3 of the signings that come in this summer, I'm just going to say it right now, 3 of the signings that come in this summer have to be players that are going to go right into that starting 11. They have to be. Otherwise, there's no point. We're back to where we was again. And then Ineos may get a little bit twitchy, and there goes Ruben Amorim. He hasn't got time to nurture every single academy player through into this side. He needs improvements that are going to come in now. And they are your players, your Edisons, your Lookmans, your Osimhens, your Trincao types of players. They're what Manchester United need coming in alongside, I would say, 3 to 4 young teenagers, prospects that could come in. And then, obviously, you've got Manchester United academy players to come through. I could name 6 or 7 academy players that could make it at Manchester United, that really could make it and come through if the pathway is cleared. And the pathway is the deadwood. It's the blockers. It's them players that are sitting on the bench, taking a spot because they're on stupid amounts of money. And a lot of that is going this summer. So let's see how Manchester United line up in that first game of the season. Let's see what the bench is. Let's see how strong the squad is. But look, that is everything. We are 11 likes away from the 300 mark. Please give the video a like on the way out. We are finishing up now. Fex says he'd go for Semenyo. He could be a player that United go for as well. That would be someone who walks right into Man United's side also. The options are there. Get your comments in on all of the players we've spoken about. It's the 2 young Greek players, Tyler Diblin as well, Lookman, Kluivert, Sancho going, Mainoo going. Talk to me about absolutely everything that we've spoken about in the comments section below, everybody. Give me your best, and I will see you all later on this evening. Have a fantastic day. Thank you, mods. Thank you, members in the chat. And I will see you all in a bit. Have a good day, and don't forget, to top it all off, Manchester United, 12 international players, no injuries, and about 6 players back at training. Well, all them players were out on international duty. Just what you want to hear. Cheers, everyone. I'll see you all later.